Good morning, everybody. I don't know how many of you guys have had the experience of doing live on YouTube, but if you don't, if you subscribe to my account, then you have to sign in. And once you sign in, at the bottom of your screen on the right-hand side, you can click on where it says, I think, say something or express yourself or something like that, that you can type in your question. The first thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over the homework number 4. Okay? I'm going to go over homework number 4 today. Let's see if I can get the glare out of this. Okay. I think this is good. If there's any question before we get started with the problem number 4, please type your question. I'll be more than happy to answer your question before we get started. If I, hi Vanessa, if I have to, I probably would do it again, but this is going to get recorded. So frankly, I don't think if there's any need for going over this in other live office hours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the explanation of homework number 4. Let me see. Okay. So please type your questions here. Okay. Yes, this video, Vanessa, this video is going to be posted already, and I'm going to send the link to everybody when we're done. All right. Let's see. Problem number question. Homework number 4. I have it right here with me. Let me bring it up. Find profit or loss of 50 companies. So it doesn't have to be both. Only listed at the bottom of the problem number, homework number 4, that you can go to and you can get the profit or loss, either profit or loss or even the revenue, whichever that you prefer. Okay, parameters for all 50 companies, profit or loss. So these are the population parameters. You have to find the mu, you have to find the sigma, and you have to find population proportion. Okay, so let's say that you have 50 companies, and the profit or loss or revenue, the average comes out to be, for example, 57 million, okay, for example. And the standard deviation comes out to be, let's say, 4.5 million. Okay, you can use Excel to do these calculations. Now, what do we do for population parameters? Let me check and see if there's any new question for me. No, not yet. So it seems that there's only one person that is asking a question. Well, let's go over this homework number 4, and then after that, we can do the question and answer. So calculate the population parameter for all 50 companies, profit or loss, and then select a sample of 10. Now, hold it right here. Let's see, how do we calculate the population proportion? According to the definition, population proportion is fraction of population or sample, if we're doing it for sample, with the characteristic of interest. And the formula for it is X divided by large N, divided by large N for population, and X divided by small n for sample. Now, how do we find the proportion, the population proportion for these 50 companies? You can set, I have set somewhere in here, point estimator, population parameter. So if you, I don't know if you guys have your homework number 4 in front of you or not, but item number 4, it says, point estimators and population parameters for population proportion use those who have less than a certain value of profit or loss. This is just a hint. I have given you this clue. If you want to calculate the population proportion for your population, you can say, okay, according to the definition, fraction of the population with the characteristic of interest. You can say, I'm going to use the population, the proportion of those companies that their revenue, income, profit, loss, whatever, is less than this much. So you have a list of 50 companies, you have 50 income, revenue, whatever. You can say, okay, it's arbitrarily. You can come up with the proportion criteria yourself. In some students, I remember from previous semesters, they had used the name of those companies that starts with M. How many companies do we have in the 50 that their name starts with M? Like 4 or 5 or 10, they started with M. So 10 divided by 50, that's the proportion for the population. Okay? Now, the thing is, whatever criteria that you use for the population, you have to use the same criteria for the sample as well. Okay? So let's say in this case, we say we're going to use the proportion of those companies that their revenue is less than 15 million, for example, less than 15 million, or their name starts with A, with B, whatever. Let's say that we have like about 10 of those companies that their revenue is less than 15 million. So 10 divided by 50, this is going to be your population proportion. Okay? Now, let's go down, select a sample of 10. Calculate the point estimators of the sample. What are the points? These are population parameters. Now, point estimators are X bar, lowercase s, and lowercase p bar. Okay? Now, let's say that we select a 10 of the companies out of these 50 as our sample. How do we select these? I have suggested they either use rand between function in Excel or just go to chapter 7 and use random number table. Random number table out of chapter 7. And I have already done some problem solving showing you how to use that table. It's on, I think, most likely it's on chapter 7.1. Chapter 7.1, video number 1. Okay? So let's say that you selected sample of 10. After you selected sample of 10, then you calculate average for those 10. Let's say that it comes out 3, and your standard deviation comes out to be 5.1. And let's say that for sample proportion, you have to use the same criteria. What is the same criteria? The number of those companies that their profit, loss, or revenue is less than 15 million, or the name starts with A. Whatever criteria that you use for that, you use for this. Let's say that out of 10, you have like 4 of them that their revenue is less than 15 million. Then this is going to be 0.4. That's basically what you have to do. And then it says your work should include the name of all companies, list of all companies, profit, loss, list of the sample. You have to list all the samples, the 10 companies that you used for the sample. And then item number 4 that I've already explained. And I think basically that's it. So all you have to do is just compare the two if you wish. Compare the two and see if there's a significant difference between the two sets of the calculations, your population parameters and your point estimators. Now I'm done with this explanation of homework number 4. Okay, Miss West, which problem is this? Holly, this is homework number 4. This is homework number 4, with which I think it is due on May 6th for you guys. And if there's any student from Cal Poly, it is due on May 7th for you guys. Now, is there any question? If there's any question, please go ahead and type your question. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. We only have, just to let you guys know, we only have 13 students participating. And Ms. Dang, can we round up the amount for profit of those companies? Of course you can. Yes, you can. To make it easier for you. And again, you can use Excel to do all the calculations and everything. So has everybody been doing okay with this situation that we are in? You are most welcome, Miss Dang. I know it is hard, but there is not much that we can really do about it. Yeah, working remotely, studying remotely, doing everything remotely, it's not something that we are used to. And we just have to appreciate for what we have comparing to others that are less fortunate. Yep, you have to be very appreciative that you can still work and survive. I heard that the death toll for here has passed 40,000. That's very, very sad. Yep, we don't have that many participants. We only have 13 students participating. I'm going to have another office hour on Wednesday at 6. I'm not sure if it's 6 or 6:30. So will this afternoon session on homework 4 to, is it this afternoon or this is on Wednesday? I think it's on, well, I have to check. Will this homework 4, whatever that we are talking about right now, it is going to be recorded. And I'm going to have it available, have the link available to all of you guys as well. So that means we don't have to do it over. This is a good thing about this YouTube that we can record it. Okay, yeah, it's on Wednesday as I remember for some students who cannot make it in the morning. So we're going to have another session on Wednesday evening. That's okay, Christina. Everybody's so idle. Are you guys getting ready for the final exam? Excuse me, everyone. There's nothing to do. Let me go ahead and check my email. Oh, by the way, everybody, the instructor evaluation is going to be administered online. We've been notified by the dean's office that they are going to send you guys the forms online, and you guys gonna have to take some time, probably like maybe 5-10 minutes, just to answer those questions. If you guys have any question, please type it up. So it says this evaluation is going to be administered between April 20. Let's see, I had it somewhere. From must be considered April 20th. That means starting today through May 8th. So sometime between now and May 8th, they're going to administer those evaluations online. Students will receive an email with the link provided to access the survey. The link can also be found on Beachboard. As the instructor, you will receive an email from that's for instructors. I think that's it as far as it relates to students. Just received that email. So we have 15 participants, now we have 12. So apparently there's nothing to discuss, nothing to talk about, guys. Well, that's good. No news, good news, right? And also about your final exam. Your final exam, I've also mentioned this in one of my emails, I know, or one of the announcement on Beachboard. Your final exam is going to be administered during the time that it has already been scheduled by school. So, for example, if your final exam is scheduled, if your class meets on Monday, Wednesday, 12:30, for example, I think that your final exam is also scheduled at 12:30 to 2:30 in one of those days on the second week of May. So it is going to be administered during those scheduled time. So that means um, you have to make arrangement for those time that you be available to take the final exam. Okay, hi Natalie. For question 4, can we set certain value of profit or loss ourselves? Yes, you can. Like you said, less than 15 million or 20 million or whatever. Yes, you can. But again, whatever criteria that you use for the population proportion, you have to use the same one for your sample proportion. If was my explanation adequate? If it wasn't, Natalie, you can just let me know by typing in your response. You are very welcome. Now, I have a question for all of you guys, just for out of the curiosity. Would you rather online education over face to face? If you guys are there and you got my question, please let me know. Out of 13 students. Yeah, I agree with you. Not for math. Yeah. But we got to do what we got to do, right? Well, now that you brought this option, this issue up, um, have you had any difficulty or any difficult time or difficult experience with these videos that I have posted? Um, yeah, I agree with you, Christina. But when we have no other option, uh, sometimes we have to be a lot more flexible. Um, has has anybody had any problem with these lectures in terms of understanding the material, or how helpful have these videos been to you? For those of you who are watching this after it's been over, after it's been recorded, I'm asking questions from the participants on this live broadcast, and they are answering the question by typing in their answers. Yes, Christina, I will post a study guide in about, this is a little too early for that, but probably the first week of May, I will post them. So, Bias, I don't know who that is. Probably this is just a screen name. Says that they were very helpful, but it took a little longer to understand the concept. Usually, we can ask you or classmates when we meet. And Luis Flores, what chapters will the final cover? Um, chapters 8 completely, chapter 9 up to sections 9 1 through section 5 or 6, I'm not quite sure. We cover up to um, type 2 error hypothesis testing. We don't cover type 2 error hypothesis testing. I think it's, you know what, I don't know, my book is not it. 9.5 or 9.6, whatever that I've covered in my lectures. And then chapter 14 to the end of t-test. I think that's section 5, 14.5. And then chapter 12, just the first section, chi-squared goodness of fit. So chapter 8, 9, 14, and 12, those sections that I just mentioned. You are most welcome, Christina. You are most welcome, Luis Flores. I'm kind of nonstop on this email, kind of like 24/7. Sometimes I do see some students emailing me like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. For those, like after 12 midnight, I normally respond the following day. But other emails, I normally respond within minutes or maximum within maybe a few hours. Sorry, guys. That's water. So I cannot show the brand, okay, because of YouTube restrictions, in case you're curious. All right. Thank you for being with us for that short period of time. Thanks for explanation about the homework. Stay safe. You do the same. Thank you very much. Till when? God knows. Okay. Christina, chapter 14, t-test ends in the middle of section 5. Thank you for the information. Yeah, I know the rest of it after t-test, the rest of it is about f-test. So I didn't cover, and the f-test is not covered in the rest of chapter 14. We stop right there. Confidence interval for B1. Oh, you mean beta 1? Yeah. Yeah, F test. Yeah, confidence interval. Yeah, that's the rest of chapter 14. Thank you for the information. That is not going to be covered. Again, for those of you who would watch this video at later time, the question was what materials and what chapters covered for final exam. I was not quite sure about the sections of chapter 14. Now one of the students participants, Christina Tran, she's helping out and letting me know that the chapter 14 materials or 14.1, 2, 3, 4, and almost half of section 5. I thank you again, Christina. Okay, we're down to 8 participants. So I don't think if we're going to have any more, well, I'm going to have to be here until 12. For those of you who do not have any question or any comment, You guys can just log out, or if you want to stay until the end, that's okay, because I'm going to have to be here because of my announcement. We might have some students in the last minutes having some questions. Okay, Natalie, I'll see you later. You do the same. Stay safe and eat healthy. Thank you. Oh, by the way, again, as I announced in my announcement on Beachboard, and in the announcement for my Cal Poly students as well, if there's anyone in need of food, please let me know. I might be able to help to some extent. So, Jenny, the final exam will be 2 hours long. Yes, it is 2 hours long. And it is 50 questions instead of 40. At once, we had maximum of 14 participants, or maybe 15 or 14. I didn't have so many participants, and not that many questions. That's a good sign for me. That means I have been able to accommodate all your questions and needs and the materials that I had to cover. And apparently, we didn't have that many people with that many questions. That's a good thing. That's the way that I look at it. Could we hold another one before the final to ask questions then? Of course, I have another one, as a matter of fact, scheduled for Wednesday at, I'm not quite sure, at 6 or 6:30. That's another one this Wednesday. And then I'm going to have, at least I try to have like one office hour, maybe a little shorter, like 30 minutes in the morning and one office hour in the evening to accommodate, all students. And one thing that I would like to let you guys know about is, you probably have noticed this already. Questions regarding those materials of the study guide won't be answered, just in case. If you run into some problems with those materials on the study guide for final exam, as I have mentioned this before, most of those questions on the study guide, they are very similar to the test questions, and that's the reason that I do not provide the answer for those questions. Christina, will the final exam be on Beachboard just like the last exam? Yes. It is going to be on Beachboard on their quizzes, and it is going to be available during the regular final exam schedule on that is scheduled by the school. And yes, it is 50 questions. I would say like about 15 questions out of chapter 8, about 20 questions from chapter 9, and about like 12, 13, or maybe 14 questions out of chapter 14, and maybe one or two, and maybe not. Received, oh, yeah, just we had a little pause probably. Brendan, for CPP. So I'm glad to hear from CPP, Cal Poly Pomona. Final exam, will it be like the midterm 2? What do you mean, Brandon, by like midterm 2? In terms of the format, yes, it is going to be multiple choice, but instead of 40 questions, it's going to be 50 questions. And it is going to be, you're not going to take it on Cengage. You're going to take it on school website. You guys go to the Blackboard. This is for Cal Poly students. You go to Blackboard and you find the exam under assignments. So this is where you take it. And for you guys, it is 1 hour, 15 minutes. This is the school uh, regulation. So Cal Poly students, you guys have 1 hour, 50 minutes. Long Beach students, you guys have 2 hours. Why they're not the same? I don't know. Go figure. Different schools, different policies. You are most welcome, Brandon. Christina, thank you. Oh, you are most welcome. Christina, thank you for participating and thank you for helping out with those information about the chapter 14. Have a good day. Thank you. Jenny, I thank you for participating as well. You have a great day and stay safe. Okay, everybody. I thank you very much for participating. So this session of our office hour comes to an end. I'm going to have another one on Wednesday again, I'm not quite sure if it is 6 or 6:30. I will look it up and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.